Hi and welcome back to the channel again. Today I'm going to do some predictions about the royal family for 2020 and also much longer term, and I'm going to reference Nostradamus occasionally in my predictions here. Coming up, there's going to be some royal births and unfortunately there's going to be a royal death. You will remember that in my previous predictions I predicted that Harry and Meghan would have a baby, and it happened as for that time when I predicted last time, and the newspapers picked up on it. 2020, Meghan is going to announce that she's pregnant again, and my sense is that the baby will be a girl. Also good news for 2020 is Princess Beatrice is going to announce her wedding, and there's going to be a wedding set for a May month. Good news also for Princess Eugene of York, because she is also going to announce that she's pregnant. So there's a lot of good news in the air for the royals during 2020. Not such good news, unfortunately, for Princess Anne's daughter, Zara Phillips, because I see her having an accident of some sort and being unable to compete in the Olympics. In 2020, we're going to notice Queen Elizabeth becoming more and more tired, and Prince Charles is going to start taking over her role a lot more. We're going to see a lot more of Charles doing her engagements, doing the speeches, and the Queen taking a little bit more of a back seat gradually. This is a gradual wind down of the Elizabethan era as Charles begins to head towards the throne. And as regards to the Prince Andrew scandal, it's going to be a complete cover-up. I mean, nothing's going to be seen in the press now. He's going to get away with whatever he's allegedly done. And with the death of Jeffrey Epstein, Andrew is basically off the hook. I see this just being fizzled out, being pushed out the news gradually. So I don't feel that full justice will be done here. So those are some of my predictions for 2020 for the royal family. I'm going to make some more predictions, particularly as we lead up to the new year, about all sorts of things, so keep following this channel. And in a moment I'm going to talk about Nostradamus and some of the things that he said about the future of the royal family and give you my take on that. But if you enjoy all these predictions and you like all this psychic stuff, then go and have a look at my website, because you can book readings with me there, and you can book readings with my team of psychics, and they are available 24/7, so you could actually get a reading right now if you like. Okay, let's move on now and think about Nostradamus. So I'm very interested in Nostradamus, of course, but I don't claim to be a Nostradamus scholar or anything like that. So, but I'm going to give you some of my thoughts about Nostradamus. I'm particularly interested in Nostradamus. How did he think? I mean, how does he do things different to me, and how, other psychics, because he's not the only person that's ever had these insights into the future. And it's quite interesting actually, because I'm about to do a TV series on Nostradamus, or it's a one-off program actually in America, but I'll tell you about that when it's a suitable time, when it can be announced. But it should be quite interesting, so I'm filming that at the moment as we speak. Okay, now I'm going to look first at some of my thoughts first about Meghan and Harry. Now, when Meghan came onto the scene, I and I think many other people were really pleased at the idea that here we have an American actress, a woman of mixed race, someone that's very feisty, as it were, coming into the royal family, and I'm sure you all felt, and I did too, that this is a really good thing, to see the royal family needs a bit of a character in there to shake them up. And obviously lots of similarities with her attitude with Princess Diana, which I think is one of the reasons that Harry fell for her, because they say the boys always marry their mothers, don't they? But my sense is that we're already seeing it actually, but my feeling is that with these two we're going to see a lot more headlines in 2020 focusing on the divisions within their own marriage, as it were. Because if you think about her, she's I mean, I might upset some of you saying this, but I get the sense that she's a bit of a control freak behind the scenes. I get the feeling with her that she's not someone that, she puts on a fantastic public face, because remember, she's an actress, isn't she? But I get the feeling that behind the scenes, it's not all what it would seem. I'm seeing a lot of red flags there, you know, major red flags, because, I mean, one of the things a control freak will do, whether it's a male or a female control freak, is they'll try to separate you from your friends and families, divide and conquer. And my sense is with her that she's putting division between Harry and his family. You know, she's not doing it consciously. It's kind of an unconscious thing. It's something that people that have this need to control kind of do. They don't even realise that they're doing it. So I'm saying in some respects that Harry's in a kind of an abusive relationship, and I think we're going to see a lot more of this being in the tabloids in 2020. So she's kind of playing him. That's what I feel. And I don't think the public will have an awful lot of sympathy for her. So this is the first thing I feel about the couple. This is kind of, perhaps anybody could say this, perhaps it's not that psychic to say these things, but you know, as a psychic you get a gut feeling of personalities and people. So what do you think? If you think the same as me, or you think different, let's have a comment about Harry and Meghan. Do you think that she's a bit of a control freak? I know there's already been kind of hints of this in the press, but when they went to their South African tour, the couple were kind of thinking how lovely it would be to live in South Africa. And I get the feeling that Meghan is trying to influence Harry more and more with this idea of living away from the UK. And I think we're going to get some shock announcements in 2020 about the couple making serious moves to move outside of the UK. In fact, I think she's going to be split between New York and California. I'm seeing her as moving between those two places in the future, and maybe the couple settling in America eventually. I actually feel this will be absolutely disastrous for Harry and absolutely disastrous for the wedding, for the marriage long term. In fact, I think this couple will end in disaster. I'm afraid Meghan Markle is going to break Harry's heart. See, my feeling about this is that this is all going to be happening just after they've had another baby, which is a great sadness because that will hold them together for some time yet. But my feeling is that gradually this relationship is going to get deeper and deeper onto the rocks. You see, my feeling with Meghan is that she's kind of into the idea of being a superstar. But actually, when you're in the royal family, you're not a superstar as such. You're a public servant. It's a big difference to the Californian sort of style movie star type of scene. And I think this is where she's going to find her downfall and where she's going to find it very, very difficult. And there's no sympathy from the public with her saying about her intrusion of privacies and how she feels weak about things sometimes. I mean, there's no sympathy for that, I feel, in the press, certainly. So my feeling is that long term this relationship is not going to work out. Now, keeping with Harry for a while, there was a load of newspaper headlines a while back that said that Nostradamus claimed that Harry would actually become the next king after the death of Elizabeth. In fact, there's a number of different interpretations for this, which I'll look at. But I mean, when I look at these things, I find it quite doubtful, the sort of interpretations that people are putting a spin on this. And we'll look at some of the words in a minute. One of the thoughts was that Prince Charles would become king, that he would commit suicide, you know, and we know he does suffer from a certain amount of depression, but I don't think it's serious depression to that level like Churchill and people had. But they say he would commit suicide. There would be a huge row between William and Harry. We kind of got a bit of that at the moment, but a major row. William would kind of storm off and Harry would take the throne, you know. No way, in my opinion, is that going to happen. I just don't see that happening. I'm seeing the basic royal lineage. Elizabeth, Charles. Now, I don't feel that Charles will have a long reign. I mean, I know he's in his 70s now, but even so, I feel that he's going to come off the throne. Something's going to happen with Charles to stop him continuing to his golden years, as it were, as Elizabeth has done. He's not going to have a long reign, even much as he would like to. I'm not quite sure what's happening with Charles there, why it's happening, but I get the sense of him being curtailed. Because William is kind of taking a much more, William and Kate are taking a sort of much more modern view of the monarchy. My feeling is that somehow Charles might get ousted somehow by being so unpopular, and that William and Kate will become the King and Queen of England much sooner than you'd expect. But I don't see it going to Harry. So on the death of Elizabeth, Charles will take the throne. I don't see anything happening other than that happening. Charles will be King of England. And incidentally, when I was doing this, although Charles's reign will be short too, but while I was doing this, I had, you get these sort of visions and images coming into your third eye. This is how I kind of work. I can talk about that another time, about how I work. But I got a flash of Charles being hit by an egg. Okay, so that's something I think is going to happen in 2020. I saw his lovely, where's that lovely camel coat? I see that camel coat all covered in goo. So something happening like that. I saw that for some reason. So that might be something in the headlines. And also there's controversy over whether Camilla would ever be actually the Queen, but I see she will become the Queen Consort, despite a lot of press argument at the time when Charles comes to the throne. But she will be Queen Consort. Now I'd just like to now look at one of these Nostradamus quatrains. I've got some here in my notes here, so I'm going to have to read this to you because I don't know these things, I can't do these ad lib. But in Century 10, quatrain 22, this is one that was picked up about the royal family quite a lot, which I think is quite interesting one. Now this is how it translates into English. So, because he accepted divorce, after the fact he shall be considered unworthy. As king of the islands he shall be chaste. To take his place will be a worthy king. So it's kind of talking about, so we got, so because he accepted divorce, that's as a way of life, right? After the fact, accepting a divorce, that is, he shall be considered unworthy as king of the islands. Now king of the islands is Great Britain, right? And he shall be chaste, that is perhaps forced to abdicate, we can perhaps interpret that as. To take his place will be a worthy king. So it's been said that, in some parts of Nostradamus' interpretations, people have said that the Queen will die in 2022. And that's when King Charles will become King of the Islands. I still get a feeling that's not quite right. I think she's going to go beyond 2022. My feeling is she's going to live to nearly on 100. The Queen's going to live to, but she will not be Queen up to that time, because I see the kind of like Charles coming in as almost a king consort, sort of thing. So anyway, so Charles in 2022, says Nostradamus, will be King of the Islands, that is the British Isles. However, this kind of suggests, people have suggested that this could mean that the resentment held up against him because of all the problems with Diana and everything will force him to abdicate. Now I looked at this again and I thought, yes, okay, that's what they're saying, that's how they're interpreting it. And this all became big news headlines for a while, so this isn't anything new actually what I'm telling you here. But when you look at that same quatrain in another way, couldn't that also be applied to Edward and Wallace Simpson? The king abdicated. It was all over the divorce. As king of the islands, another king will take his place. Someone out there will take his place, will be a worthy king. It kind of could be interpreted maybe as Wallace and Simpson. You see, I think Nostradamus is like all of us. I make predictions and I get a lot right, as I think you'd probably agree, I get quite a lot right, but I do get things wrong too, because I'm fallible. And I think, well, surely Nostradamus must have the same fallibility, because you get glimpses, you see. You don't see the whole thing when you do this. So on these things, I kind of differ from Nostradamus with what's said there, because remember, when people say Nostradamus says this, it's the interpreters of Nostradamus say this, because Nostradamus didn't date his work. He didn't say in 2020 this will happen, or in 2035 this will happen. People are interpreting it based on the hints sometimes of the astrological suggestions that are sometimes in his work. So yeah, so that's it. So anyway, I just thought I'd introduce Nostradamus. I think we'll look at this again some other time, actually, because these are interesting things. And but let's have your comments, because if you're interested in all this, I'm really interested to see what you have to say. And if you like the channel, please do give us a like and follow us. You know, follow us, and you'll get updates if you click that little bell thingy at the bottom down there, and that'll give you updates every time we go with a new predictions. And like I say, there's a lot more coming up shortly. And if you enjoy all this work, don't forget to get a reading with us at the website. We've got psychics waiting there all the time. And I've written a book, remember. I always give you a plug about this. Here we go. This is when you turn off, isn't it? So I'm going to tell you something important in a minute. My book, Messages from the Universe, is all about destiny, fate. Is there fate? Is there destiny? There is no fate. I went and saw Terminator the other day. Is there or isn't there? These are all interesting questions that I raise in the book. So anyway, thanks for joining us, and I'll see you next time. More predictions coming up, so don't forget to follow this channel. See you soon. Bye for now.